I'm so excited. We're going to be starting passion projects, and I want to talk to you today both about thin questions versus thick questions, and then also choosing or narrowing down your search in topics. So, first of all, thin questions versus thick. And I'll go back to these as well when I can give you some examples, but we'll start with just telling you that a thin question is a question that usually starts with who, what, where, when. It's a question that we can easily look up and answer on Google. So, for example, if I decide that I want to do a passion project because you guys know that I'm passionate about France, a thin question about that might be, what is the population of France? And that would be something I can easily go and Google. However, thick questions are harder to answer. I might need to do research and have more in depth conversations with people about it. I might need to interview people. I might need to research. So I'm looking at some of my question starters here for thick questions. And off the top of my head, I'm thinking of a conversation I had with my former French exchange student who right now lives in France. And I might ask, what is the impact that COVID-19 is having on France? And I might ask myself, um, how are they handling the situation in France similarly to or differently from how we're handling it here? That is not an a very easy answer to just Google. If I ask what are the statistics surrounding COVID-19 in France, then that would be very Googleable. So I'm going to now go to how to narrow down my topic search. So first of all, in the red over here, I'm just going to type in some things that I am passionate about. What are some things that interest me? So I really like calligraphy, which is, for those of you who don't know, that's fancy writing. I like calligraphy. Um, let's see. I really like a town in France specifically called Nancy, France. I spent some time there, and it's one of my favorite places. You guys also know I really love cats, and I have a bearded dragon. I think I've talked about that before. So I'm going to write my bearded dragon down there. And let's see here. I also have a friend named Irene Lavelle, and she was my former French teacher, and she um, worked in the French Resistance in World War II. So there's some interesting information there. I love autograph collecting, so I'm going to write that down. And then, you know what? I'm still very interested in people's reading habits because I really have always had that question, or at least for the last 5 years, about people and their dislike of reading. And is it really that they hate reading, or is it they just, if they haven't found the right book yet? And I'd really like to do more research on that. And then, unfortunately, my stepmom died last year of complications having to do with Alzheimer's disease. So that's kind of on my mind too. So these are some topics that I'm thinking about. And so now what I'm going to do with the blue over here is look to narrow down my choices. So now I'm just going to make a choice between calligraphy and Nancy, France. And between those two, I don't really see too much of a problem. I'm going to choose Nancy, France. And then over here between the cat and the bearded dragon, I think I'm going to choose bearded dragon because I don't know a lot about them. So that would be interesting to know more about them. Then between Irene Lavelle, and autograph collecting, I kind of think I'm just thinking here between the thin and the thick questions, and I just don't know that I have enough thick questions in my head about autograph collecting. So I'm going to stick with my friend Irene Lavelle here. And then reading habits versus Alzheimer's. And I think right now I am going to stick with reading habits. Okay, so now I've got all 4 of these. And I am going to look at what interests me the most. And I am going to stick to Nancy, France. And here I'm going to pick, in this case, reading habits. And then I'm going to have to pick a winner. Which do I really want to explore? And I'm going to pick, just because I can give you thick information about it, because I explored this over the last 2 years, I'm going to pick reading habits because I've done some research on it. But I'm going to also tell you with that you want to pick something that you have to do further research on. And if I really were to truly do a project on this, I want you to rest assured that there is no way I've done all the research possible on the reading habits of people and if they truly dislike reading or if they just haven't found the right book yet. I've kind of talked to you a little bit about that in the beginning of the year, but not a lot now. So this is kind of where I'm at right now in the beginning of choosing my thick question. Now you're going to leave all of your choices here because now you're going to kind of sit down and look at, in this case for me, reading habits, and you're going to think about, okay, what are the thick questions that you can ask about reading habits? And if I can't come up with enough things, then I might go back to something over here to Nancy, France, or I might go to something a little bit farther back over here. So that's how you want to make your decision. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. And if you have any trouble with this, then just go ahead and send me an email and I'm happy to Zoom with you and I'll work this out with you.